Hello everyone, I have decided to have a very indulgent art day today and cancel my to-do list, forget my adult responsibilities, and just spend all day in my sketchbook drawing and painting and doing nice things. That is a very fortunate thing to be able to do on a weekday, so I'd love to take you with me to share some of the goodness with you. I've already moved my art desk to another room since my last video a week ago where I first moved in. It turns out that this room has better lighting and is better for filming, so this is my new art home now. After spending most of my energy this past month doing life admin to move interstate and set up in a new house, it would be really lovely to indulge in some creativity. So let's start really comfortable and familiar, and for me that always leads to drawing flowers, which are my creative comfort zone. I find drawing flowers to be very calming, and even if I don't create anything new or spectacular, the process itself is what I'm here for, and I'm pretty confident it's great for my nervous system to sit down with my art supplies and turn a blank page into lovely flowers. I mentioned in my last video that I recently bought some soft pastels, and I'm really enjoying using them. This is only maybe the second or third illustration I'm using them in, and they are so soft and lovely, and I really like the cloudy texture you get with them. They make a nice broad base layer of colour that I think I could go over with coloured pencils afterwards for details. One of the best things about working for myself is getting to choose my own schedule, which means that I get to wake up on days like today and decide to ignore all of my other responsibilities and just make art all day. That almost makes it sound like I do this often, and I don't, though maybe I should start scheduling full art days in my calendar that are just for fun without any expectations or outcomes. Art is such a wonderful escape. You can be anywhere your imagination can take you when you're in your sketchbook. You can use it as self-expression or to brighten your mood with something joyful even if you're not feeling that way. You can use it as meditation or as stress relief. I'm not an art therapist, but I do know that most of the time creating art makes me feel calmer and lighter than before I started. As long as I'm not trying to draw something really difficult, and then it can make me feel frustrated, but not when I'm drawing pretty flowers. So that was a nice gentle warm-up for the day, and after a little break, I'll draw something else. I always put a spare sheet of paper in between pages so that colours don't get pushed from one page to another when I'm drawing on the other side. So my patrons recently helped me decide what to draw in a recent poll of art ideas, and the most popular prompt was hedgehogs in different outfits, so that's what I'm going to draw next. And I think coloured pencils will be the easiest medium to use for lots of little details. I've started drawing animals as really basic blocky bodies with different animal heads on top, and I'm finding them so much easier and more enjoyable to draw that way. I used to try and be a bit more accurate with their body shapes, and I still will if they aren't wearing clothes and I'm drawing them in a more natural way. But when I'm drawing animal characters in human clothes, it actually works pretty well to just draw them all with a blocky, almost human body, and then add the animal-specific head on top. Especially for exercises like this that are no pressure and just for fun, I try not to worry too much about what makes sense and what doesn't. Like, wouldn't a hedgehog's spines be sticking out the back of their clothes? And aren't their arms really tiny and more in front of their body than at the sides? But really, it doesn't matter. I've learned that for things like this, it's way more fun to ignore the logic, and sometimes you can totally get away with it anyway, and end up with fun characters like these. And if the flower illustration wasn't stress relieving enough, drawing funny animals in cute outfits is absolutely going to wipe all of your worries away. There's a certain kind of joyful escapism that comes from stripes and overalls on hedgehogs that you just can't get elsewhere. I know that the world can feel heavy and full of problems, and it's a privilege to be able to escape those problems at all, but I hope that you can find some goodness in either your own art or in my art today to balance things out a bit. Because we could all benefit from more good things, and in a sketchbook you can create your own good things out of thin air. So I'm very happy with my hedgehogs in cute outfits. Let's take a little break to recharge before filling in another page. I have some plants that need to be put into pots, and although I certainly do not have a green thumb, I do enjoy how grounding gardening is. Plants don't seem to have any worries other than drinking enough water and getting some sunshine, so it's nice to be around them. And maybe some of their carefree attitude will rub off on me. I bought this plant for my art studio because I thought the white sporty leaves looked like they had little flecks of paint on them, which seemed very fitting. Also, I have some basil that I bought from the supermarket, and I want to see if it will keep growing and giving me more leaves to eat. So let's see if splitting it up and putting it into pots will work. That was a nice outside little break. Let's get back inside and fill in another page. I'd like to use paints this time, so let's get out my jelly gouache pack. I'm trying to get better at using gouache because I don't have much experience with painting, and what experience I do have is mostly with watercolors. So I'm just going to try and practice where I can, and maybe another day I'll follow a tutorial to see if I can pick up some tips. I think I'll do a simple landscape with just a nice cottage as the feature of it to keep things beginner friendly. And this is the kind of composition that I've done a lot of in the past in other illustrations, so I'm hoping it'll be a good starting point for a beginner painting. I have no idea of any right or wrong techniques with painting, and at this point I'm trying not to overthink it and just be loose with the paint and find my own way of getting the color down on the page in a way that I like. It's certainly very satisfying using paints. I love the textures of it and how you can color large areas very quickly. I didn't do a lot of traditional art last year because I was traveling, and when I did, it was mostly with colored pencils and a little bit with watercolor paints that I traveled with. So this is nice to have all of this space for traditional art on my desk. I've only had an art desk set up for a week or two, and already it's so much easier to sit and create something when all of my art supplies are in one place and I don't have to pack everything up straight away. So I'm really glad to be settling into this new space. It's a dream of mine to have a beautiful art studio full of plants and lots of art supplies, and this is a big first step toward that, which is really lovely. And hopefully you'll see my art space slowly change throughout the year to get closer to that dream studio. Now let's leave this paint to dry for a bit and take a break to make some afternoon tea. It was pancake day yesterday, but I missed it, so better late than never. I'm gonna make some thin English pancakes like we used to make when I was little. I love baking and cooking. It's hands-on and messy, and you can be creative with it. I would have baked a cake, but I don't have any sugar, and not because I'm healthy, just because I haven't stocked my pantry with baking supplies yet. So pancakes with jam and yogurt it is, served on my favorite plate that I've ever found at a charity shop, because life's too short not to use the fun plates, even if they are a collectible. Now that my paint is dry, I think I'll use colored pencils and soft pastels for details, because I'm not steady-handed enough to do details with paint yet, and probably don't have a thin enough brush either. I like using different art mediums in one artwork. It feels like you get to use the best bits of all of them. I also really love texture, and you get lots of different lovely textures from different art mediums. Sometimes I'm not confident that an illustration is really working, but then I start layering it up with details, and most of the time the final details bring it all together and make it so much better. It usually, in my case at least, is just a bit flat in the middle stages and needs some dark values and some really light ones, and then it feels much better. We're studying values in my creative illustration curriculum this month on my Patreon, so join us over there if you're also trying to improve your art skills this year. We have 12 monthly art challenges for the year, and it's very informal and all at a very manageable pace, so I'll leave the link in my description below. I think this has come together really nicely. I love drawing pink skies. It always looks so nice with the greens. Now I'm going to finish my arty day with one more tiny activity as a sort of creative cool down. I've been neglecting my tiny sketchbook for a while now, so let's draw something quick and silly in it without thinking too much. I'm quite close to finishing this sketchbook actually. There are only maybe half a dozen pages left, so maybe I should try and get that finished soon so that I can say I've actually completed a sketchbook, which is very, very rare for me. It does help that it's so tiny. I love this sketchbook for drawing silly little ideas, and because it's so small, it never takes very long to draw something in it. Most of the art in this book probably took less than 15 minutes, so if you're someone who struggles with big blank pages, I really recommend getting a small sketchbook. And because it doesn't take very long to fill in a small page, you get the confidence boost of filling in a whole page quite quickly, but also the pressure is so low because even if you don't like what you draw in it, it didn't take much time out of your day, and you can easily draw something else in 15 minutes again tomorrow. This has been the loveliest, most creative and indulgent day to forget about the outside world for a bit and escape into my sketchbook. So thank you for joining me, because it's lovely to have your company. If you'd like to watch the real-time process of any of these pages from today, I'll be sharing them on my second channel one at a time over the next couple of weeks, so be sure to join me over there as well. I'll see you again in the next one. Bye bye.